Welcome to Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, back again with another episode, y'all. In this episode, I'm going to be reading to you a letter that I received from an incarcerated person down in Texas. Uh, it's part of a new initiative that I'm launching where I am inviting anybody that is currently or formerly incarcerated to write me a letter concerning their experience with the criminal lifestyle in any way, shape, form, or fashion, as long as it's a letter to deter people from the lifestyle. I will not, under any circumstances, glorify the lifestyle. I will share facts about the lifestyle in hopes that you understanding what it's really about will deter you, but I will not glorify it. So I'm inviting everybody to write me and let me know, what their experiences have been like, and I'm going to share it on my show. The response has been great so far. I hope that they keep coming. But in this episode, I'm going to be reading a letter from a guy in Texas. I'm going to call him Texas so that I can honor his request of remaining anonymous. So with that said, I hope that you enjoy the show. As I sit here in my cell, staring out at the bleak concrete walls, I can't help but feel a sense of hopelessness wash over me. I'm never getting out of prison. It's a thought that's haunted me since the day I was convicted, and one that I can't seem to shake. I often find myself lost in thought, imagining the life I could have had if things had gone differently. Maybe I would have gone to college, found a good job, started a family. Maybe I would have traveled the world or pursued my passion for music. But those dreams, those possibilities, they're all gone now. They're nothing more than distant memories taunting me with what could have been. I'm never getting out of prison. These are the words that haunt me every day of my life. I know that I've made decisions I regret for the rest of my life. I know that I've ruined my life and the lives of others. I know that I'll never be able to make up for what I've done. But most of all, I know that I'm never getting out of prison. When I was younger, I was foolish and reckless. I thought I was invincible, that nothing could touch me. I was always looking for the next thrill, the next high. It didn't matter who got hurt in the process. I didn't care about the consequences of my actions. All that mattered was the rush. It wasn't until I got caught that I realized the gravity of my situation. I had been involved in a violent crime, one that resulted in the death of an innocent person. I was charged with murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. I was only 22 years old at the time. At first, I was in shock. I couldn't believe that this was happening to me. I'd always thought that I was smarter than the system, that I could get away with anything. But as I sat in my cell, I realized that I was wrong. I had made a terrible mistake, one that would cost me my freedom. As the years went by, I tried to come to terms with my situation. I went through all the stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't accept the fact that I was never getting out of prison. I watched as my friends and my family moved on with their lives. They got married, had children, and built careers. Meanwhile, I was stuck in a cell, watching the world go by. I missed out on so much, and I knew that I would never get those years back. I've tried to keep myself busy. I read books, write letters, and work out. But no matter how much I do, I can't escape the fact that I'm a prisoner. I am trapped in a system that didn't care about me or my well-being. that sees me as nothing more than a number. I've watched as other inmates come and go, some of them being released after serving their sentences, some dying in prison. But no matter what, I know that I'm never getting out of prison. I have been sentenced to die in prison. As the years have turned into decades, I've watched as the world outside has changed. Technology advanced, politics shifted, and society evolving. But inside prison, nothing changes. The same routine, day in and day out, over and over and over. The same people, the same food, the same rules. I sometimes wonder what my life would have been like if I had made different choices. If I had stayed in school, gone to college, and pursued a career. If I had never gotten involved in crime. If I had never hurt anyone. But those are just fantasies for me now. The reality is, I'm a prisoner, and I will always be. I've come to accept my fate in a way. I know that I'll never get out of prison, and I'm okay with that. I've made peace with myself and the world. I found meaning in my life. If it's not the life I would have chosen for me, for myself, but it's one that I have to live nonetheless. In the end, I've come to realize that life is not about what happens to you. It's about how you react to what's happening to you. I may be a prisoner, but I'm still a human being. I still have thoughts, feelings, and dreams. I've become a mentor to some younger inmates, trying to steer them away from the mistakes that I've made. I've also gotten involved in the prison education program, trying to help others learn the skills that I've never had the chance to learn. Through these efforts, I've found a sense of purpose. I've found that even though I'm locked up, I can still make a positive impact on the world. It may not be the impact that I would have wanted, but it's an impact nonetheless. I've also come to appreciate the small things in life. A good book, a heartfelt letter from a loved one, even the simple pleasure of a warm cup of coffee. These things may seem insignificant to you, but not to me. They are a reminder that there is still beauty in the world, even in the darkest places. Of course, there are still days when the weight of my situation feels too heavy to bear. Days when I wonder if I'll ever be able to fully come to terms with my fate. But on those days, I remind myself of the progress I've made, the positive impact I've had, and the things I still have to be grateful for. I'm never getting out of prison. That much is certain. But even though my life may not have turned out the way I wanted it to, I'm still grateful for the chance to make a difference. I may be a prisoner, but I'm also a human being. And that's something that can never be taken away from me. I want to thank Texas for writing me that letter. I get it. I really do get it. But it's something that I want to add a few things, as a matter of fact. Your worth isn't defined by your geographical location. Your worth is defined by what you do, who you really are. We all make bad decisions. It's how we respond after the decisions that we make. Now, I know a lot of people out there probably think that, people like him, people like me don't deserve another chance, but what I would say to that is that we all find ourselves in situations where we just can't seem to shake the actions of our past. It's almost as if no matter what you do, You'll always be judged by your past. And what I say to you, Texas, is this: you still have worth. You seem to have some understanding of that. And beyond Texas, this is to everybody that's listening. If you find yourself in a situation where you start to define yourself by the narrative that somebody else has set for you, or the narrative that you set in motion through your actions, and you don't like it, change it. Your reality is your perception. And let me repeat that. If you start to define yourself by the narrative that somebody else has set for you, meaning somebody says that you're a failure, a scumbag, uh, 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 somebody that doesn't deserve to be treated like a human being, whether it be somebody that you live with, somebody that you're in a relationship with, or an officer, or somebody in the legal system, uh, if they decide the narrative and you agree with that, then that's who you are, because your reality is your perception. If you choose a narrative that is negative to you, meaning if somebody is hurting you and victimizing you, and you decide that you're going to be a victim in the way that causes you to further harm yourself and not be proactive to make change, then that's who you are. What we have to learn to do is to live our lives by a narrative that we choose, not what's chosen for us by the actions of somebody else or our own. We have to choose a narrative that is one that uplifts us. We have to choose a narrative that is one that is about discovery, about healing, about helping, about forgiving. We have to choose a narrative that is going to bring out the best in us and not cause us to be harmful to ourselves or harmful to others. And Texas has seen, it seems that he has a grip on that, but like all of us, he has his days. But overall, we have to decide that where I'm at doesn't define who I am, in the sense that you're in prison, you're always going to be a prisoner. No, you're a human being. You said that. And if you're in an abusive relationship on the streets, or you have been abused by somebody in another way, you are way more than those actions of that person that's in your life wants you to believe you are. You're way more than that. And you have to choose. See, it's still about choosing, still about a choice. You have to choose to be more. You have to choose to be more. In whatever situation you find yourself in. And I'm glad that Texas wrote me this letter, because imprisonment is about a state of mind. You'll never be free, whether you're in a physical prison or in a bad relationship or a situation that you don't want to be in out there in the free world. You'll never be free as long as you imprison your mind. Free your mind, and then you'll be okay. And it is a process. It is a process. But it's possible. Stay focused on the things that you want to do. Stay focused on most definitely doing what the Most High wants you to do. And you're going to be okay. Yes, your physical location may be what it is. But to see the world through that physical eye only limits you to the possibilities of the world, of the Most High, of yourself. You have to see the world through your imagination in a way that opens up all sorts of possibilities to yourself. I'm telling you this because this is what I know. I imagined myself having a podcast, so I've always wanted to be on the radio. But I gave up on that. I stopped seeing myself as somebody that could do that, and it put me on a path of destruction and pain to other people and myself. It wasn't until I started to see myself again as somebody that could talk to people and help people and help myself, that I was able to do this with the help of the Most High and my family and those that love me. I had to believe that. I had to see that. I had to stick to it. I had to be persistent. But it wasn't until I was able to see it. It didn't matter what anybody else said about me or did to help me or hurt me. I had to believe it. And that's what I'm saying to you. You have to believe that. And when you do, you're going to find yourself doing some amazing things. And this is for Texas and anybody else that's listening to this show. And I'm going to wrap this thing up because I've said enough. I know I get preachy sometimes. But, y'all bear with me. I love all of y'all, and I'm saying this out of love, I'm going to keep saying it. If I get too preachy, let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Or hit me up at doingtimewithjoe@gmail.com. And don't worry about how you say it. Just say it. I receive it with love. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. And I say peace, y'all.